3, 2, 1, end of test. Keying with a go.
Well, hello there, and welcome to another edition of Warbird Wednesday. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum, and today we are continuing to fly down Flying Boat Lane with my videotaping assistant, Kevin, who has outfitted me actually quite apropos for this airplane. It actually fits. It's a steampunk. I even know what this is. I am not that culturally depraved. A steampunk hat. I'm going to toss that off camera, and he caught it without suffering any severe injuries from all the pointy things there. Now, we are talking about the Dornier, the DOX. Now, the X, I'm just going to do X. The X was really what I think, if you look at the lines on that, I'll throw up a plan view of this thing. To me, it was gorgeous. Absolutely Art Deco design, the design of the time. This is an interwar aircraft. It first flew in 1929. It was introduced that year, and it was retired in 1937, but I'll kind of get to that because there were some accidents and some other things in there. But if you think about pre-war aviation, classic pre-war aviation, this, if you look at a Ford Trimotor or one of these or any of these, the aircraft from this period, this fits the bill. Now, there were only 3 of them built. They were an extremely low build. It could get up to 150 miles an hour, but when I talk about a Ford Trimotor, here's what's important: 110 mile an hour cruising speed. It was extremely slow, and it had a difficult time getting off the water. It was financed by the German ministry. Now, we've talked about this before, and the reason for that was they were getting around the Treaty of Versailles, and they did not want to disclose the aircraft because the Germans, whether they would admit it or not at the time, were all about developing military aircraft. And there were people in Germany that felt very strongly, especially they were maybe out of the Luftwaffe, but in the shadows, that felt very strongly that Germany, in order to compete in Europe, had to have a strong military air force. Germany was a hotbed of design development. There were really, really sharp engineers, and people are very passionate about aviation in Germany. And to a certain extent, they were stifled by the Treaty of Versailles and not being able to do any military aircraft development. Now, there was only one aircraft that was bigger in this time period, and that was the Soviet, the Ant, or the ANT-20, which was larger. This thing had a 150-foot wing, so it was huge. It was made, the hull was made of all duraluminum, so we were getting away from the, we talked about, we discussed, like with Sinbad and some of these yachts, and this does look very much like a boat. If you took the wing off, it looks like a boat. Getting away from any wood, everything was getting away from. Now, that created weight, and this aircraft initially was powered by Bristol Jupiter radial engines in a push-pull configuration, but they could barely get the prototype off the water. And so what ended up happening was later in life, they went with Curtiss V1570 engines, which is what you see the aircraft fitted with, and I believe in this model. And that is pretty much where you see the popular thing, the pictures of the aircraft and so on and so forth. Now, I want to talk a little bit about these pioneers. Dornier was an incredible pioneer. Did go on and had aircraft that were used during the war, but at this point, the company was designing some of the most amazing aircraft of the time. And those are the people that I want to talk about, and that's the Dreamers. Now, these Dreamers, you got to remember, this is 1929, 1930. They're gone. They're all gone now. You figure we celebrated Pearl Harbor last week. If you're a Pearl Harbor vet, you had to be 96 years old or greater. So imagine if you're going back to people who were in their 20s in the mid-1920s or the mid-1930s, they'd be well over their hundreds, and they're just not around anymore. But they were the ones who dreamed about getting these things built and actually making this stuff happen. And in this case, as I said, what a work of art. But the Dreamers built, we talked about the Ford Trimotor, a lot of these aircraft, the early Boeing aircraft, none of that Douglas would not have happened if we had those, without those Aviation Dreamers. They didn't know where it was going to go. They had no idea where it was going to go, but they didn't stop being creative. And remember, no computers, only slide rule.
Today we have a special lesson on the slide rule, the use of the slide rule. Before taking up the slide rule proper, it is essential that we learn the difference between significant figures and non-significant figures. And to illustrate this, I have on the board a set of numbers. The first set of numbers involve 3 significant figures.
You either played with the airplane and flew it and broke it and went back and tried to figure out what was wrong with it, because you could put a shape. There were early wind tunnels, but nothing that could do the work that you would need to do to design something like this. Now, today, this is a Alamedular, which whatever that is. It has a, this looks German or Swiss. It has an overlay nutrition facts on it. I am natural alpine herb lemonade. So now we know alpine herb lemonade. I don't know how in the heck you got a hold of this. This is definitely outside of California. So yeah, Kevin is going, all right, so we're going to go ahead and crack this. There's a little bit of a fizz, so it's not totally gone. Now it is cold, so Kevin has at least spared me, hopefully, the botulism exposure. But to all those folks that were dreamers and coming up with these incredible aircraft at a very difficult time, I salute you. Greg's really going to be upset at you. This is actually quite good. This is an alpine herb lemonade. I do not know even what the calories are in this because I cannot figure them out, but I'm sure it's got something in it. Now that is really good. So you dreamers, home run. All right, so that actually is a home run. That's one of the best. Kevin, you are really slipping with Greg. Greg is going to hunt you down. So when I talked about flying boat, this thing quite literally was nautical in nature. The flight engineer in this aircraft controlled the throttles, and the pilot would call out for the throttle settings. So it was almost like the Starship Enterprise. Mr. Scott, I need warp speed now or we're all dead. Imagine that in this airplane, pilot has no control over the throttles. He's basically just up, down, side to side. That's it. And so the flight engineer managed most of this. It had a fairly large crew of people that worked on the airplane or worked in the airplane, but the passenger comfort, this is, again, what I want to say, the kind of classic age of flying boats. Now, What happened to them? 2 were damaged there was an issue with the hull that if you would come in too steep and this is how I understand the description, and you tried to flare the aircraft on the water, when you flared the aircraft on the water, you broke the tail off. And in 2 of these aircraft, the tail was broken off, and then the last one was destroyed in 1943. It was damaged beyond repair, and then the guts of it essentially were scrapped. And that, as they say, but can you imagine if one of these had ended up in a museum? What a beautiful airplane to be in a museum. Sadly, it did not happen. I am shocked that we have this came out of our collection. I'm even shocked that we have that because that is such a rare, unusual aircraft. So excellent find to the Kevmeister, my Paracosm assistant. Now, if you are going on a flying boat, what do you need? You need a flying towel. And your towel will go flying with you. Now, this is a We Can Do It towel. It is a great Christmas gift. You can get one of these for Christmas. So I encourage you to go out to the link, click on it. Kevin will personally weave one of these for you. No, he won't. But Jason will pull one out of inventory and mail it off to you, and hopefully you'll get it in time for Christmas. We cannot do all of this. Today we're in the Miles hangar, and we have a transport case full of a bunch of transports. We cannot do that without your donation. So click on that link and give us a donation. If you came across us on YouTube and all you like are one-cut Warbird videos, there's not a lot of edit that goes into this, a lot of magic, then we will appreciate a subscription if you give us one. Forward it to your friends. We appreciate that. On Facebook as well, if you come across us, we love comments. We respond to comments. Be happy to get them, and give us a like. My name is Fred Bell. I am the Vice Chairman of the Palm Springs Air Museum. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
3, 2, 1, end of pass. King with a go.